It's the Whiteout this week. It's time for the Unrivaled weekly preview show as Penn State welcomes Minnesota to the greatest environment in all of college football. Brian Tripp, thrilled to be with you once again here on this Wednesday night from inside Lasch Building. Head coach James Franklin getting set to address the media. He'll be at that podium in just a moment. Our matchup, 16th ranked Penn State taking on Minnesota at Beaver Stadium for the Whiteout game, 7:30 on Saturday on ABC. The Nittany Lions ranked 16th in the country. Here's head coach James Franklin.
What is that, A? Altoona. Oh, nice. But it says Lady Lions?
Yeah, it's on the girls basketball team.
Huh, awesome.
How would you evaluate the receivers group so far? And then every time
I didn't hear you.
Yeah, how would you evaluate the receiver group so far and type of balance offense do you think they put up on the end of the bar against them?
I'm having a hard time hearing you.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Like the receiver groups.
I heard the receiver.
Yeah. Do you think they put up on the end of the bargain type of balance offense this year so far?
Say this again.
They held up to their end of the bargain so far this year. So the balance
Gotcha.
factor.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, when you're looking at every single position group, you always are going to want more production, no matter where you're at. We knew coming into this season that we had some guys that needed to step up offensively for us. There's still a ton of football left. There's still an opportunity this Saturday. But yeah, you could kind of go through each receiver and tell a different story with each one of them. But it's not just the wideouts. It's the quarterback, it's the wideouts, it's the protection, it's all of it. But yeah, overall, I feel pretty good.
So James, Minnesota leads the Big Ten in time of possession, 35 minutes this year. What are some ways, what are some things the offense has kind of done to ensure that it stays on the field longer?
Well, time of possession is a team stat. So it is your offense staying on the field, which is converting on third down and being efficient on first and second down. And it's also the defense getting off the field. It's both of those things. So that's what needs to happen. Our offense needs to stay on the field, do a good job on first and second down, get the manageable third downs, convert on third down. Continue to move the ball down the field, and then when our defense is in that similar position, they need to get off the field on third down. Time of possession is about your defense getting off the field on third down and your offense staying on the field on third down.
James, when you're so fresh off of a relationship with an opposing offensive coordinator, just a couple years removed and spending so much time with him, what kind of maybe built-in advantage does it provide you? Maybe what makes you a little nervous because he's got a lot of secrets from your facility, I guess you could say.
Yeah, I think, to be honest with you, in today's college football, that's happening all the time. Michigan had a guy on their staff that had been with us for a number of years. We had an offensive coordinator there, obviously. That's college football now. There's staffs changing and people moving for opportunities. So that happens more times than not now, to be honest with you. But yeah, he's got a really good understanding of who we are and what we do and how we operate and our personnel. And we got a pretty good understanding of what he likes to do offensively. Obviously, his time at West Virginia, he picked up a few things as well. But we got a pretty good idea who they are as well. So I think to a degree, it's probably an even exchange.
James, can you speak to the logistical challenges of the kind of recruiting weekend that you're looking at this weekend? How many people are involved and how difficult is it to do that in the course of a season or in the middle of the season?
Yeah, one of the things that's been really valuable that we did not have when we first got here and we've worked hard is the Lion Ambassadors. The Lion Ambassadors has been really valuable for us to work with the university and get experts about what it's like to be a student at Penn State and be able to give tours and answer questions, especially on days like Saturday where the numbers are going to be too much for just our football staff to handle. But yeah, this is going to be your opportunity for you to be able to get a bunch of people on campus. I think we have to be up front, and honest with a lot of them. It's not a normal game day where we're going to be able to spend a lot of time with them, not just because of all the things that are going on from a whiteout perspective, but also just the numbers, just the raw numbers that there are of prospects, big-time prospects that are going to be here. So, but it takes a lot of organization. The other thing is making sure recruits and prospects understand, like, this is not a game for you to bring your buddies from high school. It's your parents and that's it. And if you want to bring buddies from high school, it's another game. We got a big we got a big recruiting ticket allotment for the whole athletic department, but this weekend tests you. It tests you for sure. So it takes a lot of organization, and also just making sure what people, are getting themselves into coming into town and parking and all those other things. There's a lot that goes into it.
What have you learned about your demeanor in the week following a loss, and how has that not evolved over the course of your career?
Yeah, I think it has evolved, and I think that's critical for our entire organization, for all the assistants, for myself, for the players. I think it's really important. I think at the end of the day, whether it's practice or whether it's in our facility, the players are going to feed off of our energy. And there's a fine line between making sure everybody understands, that whatever the outcome was not good enough, but also not to the point where it lingers. That is critical. And in this conference and on our side of the conference, there's no time for lingering, feelings or emotions. Yeah, I think it really just depends. I bounce back and forth. Spend most of my time with the offense, but I bounce back and forth with the defense. If there's something that I need to bring up on special teams to Stacy, I'll either bring it up in his office in the morning before the day starts, or at the end of the day, or when we're meeting as a full group on special teams. Same thing from time to time with Manny in the mornings or late at night on defense. But then on offense, I spend more of my time there. But it's more of a sounding board for the offensive coordinator, and very rarely is there something that I'm adamant about. There's some things, whether it's practice schedule or certain things that I'm adamant about, but very rarely. Typically I'm bringing a guy in and letting him do his job, or I wouldn't have brought him in.
You have two guys who are flashing as much as Curtis and Abdul have at the same position. Does it make you wonder how you can get the two on the field at the same time?
Yeah, we have had them both on the field at the same time.
More often.
But the challenge is, so the question wasn't how to get them on the field, it was more often. Okay. The challenge is, the answer is to move Kurt to the field backer. But the problem is then we're in nickel so much, and that guy's coming off the field on third down. So, the way to get both of those guys on the field is with the two inside backer positions. And that's easier said than done, because that's not really, Kurt's not a Mike linebacker. Abdul may be a Mike linebacker one day, but it doesn't make sense right now, to do that. So that's the challenge. But we have gone big base with both of those guys on the field. No, because, we know the offensive coordinator very well and what they're going to do and how they're going to operate. I mean, you look at him, he's got a very clear identity of who he's been, kind of wherever he's been, and what they do a really good job with. So whether he's in the game or not, we got a pretty good idea of how they're going to operate.
Does that bring a certain clarity when you're facing a guy like Kirk Shiraka? Just what you just said about that, when you're game planning for somebody like that, does that bring an advantage or a disadvantage to what you want to bring to the table against that?
Yeah, I think it does. I think it does. But, no different than when we played them last time. They're going to have a blitz, that we haven't seen. They're going to have a blitz beater, maybe they haven't run up to this point. But 95% of the game plan is going to be what we have seen, with a few little wrinkles to keep you honest.
James, we didn't see Kevon Leaf there. I don't know if he might have, but is he class
Yeah, Kevon was not out here. He was not in class. That's accurate.
Thank you, Coach.
Yeah, as you know, I'm not going to get into.
Okay, so he wasn't here.
He wasn't in class, and he wasn't out here practicing.
That's head coach James Franklin addressing the media as we get set for the 14th ever full stadium whiteout on Saturday at Beaver Stadium, a tradition that began back in 2007 against Notre Dame. It's the first whiteout. Well, the first whiteout was incredible. It was just a student section whiteout against Purdue in 2004, but we have the full stadium whiteout, the best atmosphere in all of college sports. It's going to be a great show. Penn State and Minnesota in the whiteout on Saturday, 7:30 kickoff on ABC. Should be a great matchup as we take a look at the key players as the Nittany Lions and Golden Gophers square off at Beaver Stadium for the first time since 2016. And we start with Mitchell Tinsley on the outside. Minnesota's a stout run and pass defense. Let's see if Penn State can get some big plays through the air. Tinsley's that guy. A team-leading 24 receptions for 282 yards and 3 touchdowns this season. Led the team with 5 catches for 57 yards. Last week against Michigan, Minnesota allowed a season-high 252 passing yards against Illinois. It's a Minnesota team, as you just heard from Coach Franklin, that likes to run the football. So where do we start again? Up front with P.J. Mustipher. The Penn State run defense has held 4 of 6 opponents to less than 100 yards this season. His leadership, a big reason why. He had 6 tackles against Michigan, now 23 on the season for Mustipher. Minnesota, nearly 230 rush yards per game this year. So who fills that gap after the front line? Abdul Carter, freshman linebacker, tied for second on the team with Mustipher with 23 tackles. He's playing some dime packages as well as his role continues to expand on that Penn State defense. A tackle for loss in back-to-back games. What a bright future. What a bright presence for number 11, Abdul Carter at linebacker for Penn State. As they go against a very tough Minnesota ground attack led by the running back, number 24, Muhammad Ibrahim. 104 carries, 694 yards, and 9 touchdowns in just 5 games this season. He is healthy again. The quarterback, Tanner Morgan, though, his status unknown. He's a veteran guy. Both of these players have been around college football for a long time. It's that stout defense. We could go with a bunch of guys on defense, but we go with the team's leading tackler, linebacker, Mariano Marin, team leading 39 tackles. Honorable mention, all-conference last season. So that's a look at our key players for the Penn State-Minnesota game coming up on Saturday at Beaver Stadium. And fans attending the game on Saturday, make sure you're ready for this. Not only is it the whiteout, you need to deck from head to toe in white, but our Lions Lights show will take place during the team intro video at approximately 6 minutes left on the pregame clock. Here's some steps to get set so you're ready to go when the lights go on at Beaver Stadium. Penn State fans, get ready for the whiteout and our new light show by using the new Penn State Nittany Lions app. First, open the app on your mobile device. Then, on the bottom of your screen or in the menu, select Lions Lights. At the bottom of your screen, accept and continue, and follow instructions so when you are inside Beaver Stadium, your phone is synced and ready to go. You will need to allow access to your microphone and camera so your light corresponds with music at the stadium on game day. Then, when prompted for our intro video, open the app and be a part of the greatest show in college sports. Welcome back inside the Lasch Building. Coach Franklin's media availability will be joined by punter Barney Amor and linebacker Curtis Jacobs in just a moment. Obviously, we're looking forward to the matchup on Saturday against Minnesota. Let's look at that Penn State football schedule as the Nittany Lions now with back-to-back home games taking on Minnesota and then the big game against Ohio State before going on the road to Indiana. A lot of football, a lot of opportunities ahead for Penn State here as they continue in this 2022 season. Well, when our players are on the sideline, they're sitting on our DeWalt benches. Thank you, DeWalt, for being the proud bench partner of Penn State Athletics and for keeping our players game ready while on the sideline. There's those DeWalt benches. They're white. Of course they're white. What wouldn't be white with the game coming up on Saturday at Beaver Stadium? It's going to be a terrific environment and a terrific opportunity ahead for the Penn State football team against the Golden Gophers, actually playing for the Governor's Victory Belt. It is a trophy game. Don't want to forget about that. So some of the players that will be on the field on Saturday are hoping to make their mark, not only at Penn State, but build their resume for the next level as well. While we wait for Barney to join us and Curtis to join us, let's take a look back at a great week for Nittany Lions in the NFL. A lot of offensive stars again this week as wide receiver Chris Godwin led the Bucs with 6 catches for 95 yards. Wide receiver Allen Robinson had this leaping touchdown catch among 5 receptions for 63 yards in a home win for the Rams. Dolphins tight end Mike Gesicki says he will retire the gritty dance celebration after catching not 1, but 2 touchdowns against the Vikings. The New York Giants are 5-1 thanks to running back Saquon Barkley scoring the game-winning touchdown and rushing for 83 yards on Sunday. And finally, running back Miles Sanders started the scoring and finished with 71 yards as the Eagles defeated the Cowboys and improved to 6-0 for just the 3rd time in franchise history. Remember, fans coming to the game this weekend to please practice Happy Valley hospitality. Use that Penn State pride. Showcase everything that makes Penn State fans great. Be respectful. Be great fans. Be gracious hosts. Be responsible. What should be a great weekend here in Happy Valley. A great opportunity for the football team and a great opportunity for you to come out and enjoy what is a busy, busy week that we have. Obviously, tonight we have the Unrivaled Weekly Preview Show. Thank you for tuning in wherever you're watching. Make sure you leave a comment. Let us know where you're watching from tonight. Tomorrow, the Penn State Coaches Show featuring James Franklin. Also, Penn State women's hockey head coach Jeff Campersall, who just won his 400th career game, will be on that program. Then on Saturday, the radio show, kickoff against Minnesota, and our Unrivaled postgame show coming up. What is a busy, busy Saturday. There you look at the game day schedule of events coming up as Penn State and Minnesota square off inside Beaver Stadium. Now we're joined by punter number 96, Barney Amor, here on our Unrivaled Weekly Preview Show. And Barney, first, we have to start with the Whiteout. What's the level of anticipation to play in front of a rocking crowd on Saturday night?
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be great. Last year was incredible. This year's going to be even better. The louder the fans, the better. So make sure everyone's super loud. And we're excited. Everyone's excited. I mean, this is what everyone comes here for. This is what brings in big-time recruits, brings in everyone here. And this is really a dream for all of us. So
you've played in some big-time games. How does a crowd impact the game, and what impact can the crowd have on the field on Saturday?
Yeah, so the crowd's critical, right? The crowd's super critical, especially when the other team's on offense, other team's punting, anything along those lines. When they make it hard to communicate, this is something that really, really goes into other teams preparing, and you can see which teams have and have not prepared based on, delay of games, stuff like that. So I think the crowd's a huge impact for this week. Obviously, the louder the fans can be, the better. And, I look forward to seeing how everyone does. You
heard the message right there from our punter, Barney Amor. Fans, be loud, be proud, get there early, get inside the stadium, wear white on Saturday. Now, you've had a unique journey to Penn State. I know we've chatted about it a little bit before, but to be here, how would you describe what it took to get to this point to be the punter as a Penn State Nittany Lion?
Yeah, it's a whole bunch of unfortunate and fortunate events, I feel like. I told a story a while ago just about people not really knowing how things are going to unfold, and it really is. I mean, you think about everything. There's so many things that could have just gone a different way. I should probably be working a job right now and be somewhere else, but it's so coincidental. It's so just kind of you never really know where you're going to be. You never really know what the future holds. So, you make the journey, you follow everyone, and you take the wise words of people that you trust, and you just go with it. And if it works out, it works out. If it doesn't, then on to the next thing.
Where do you feel like your personality, the characteristics that you have, your mental fortitude, what did it take to grind through it to make sure you found and made the most of whatever opportunities you've had, not only on the field, but in the classroom, what you've had a great experience to see the whole world as well, Barney?
Yeah, so I think the biggest thing is I love people that tell you can't do things. That's my biggest thing. I've had coaches that tell me you probably won't play for the first 3 years. I've had coaches that have cut communications with me because I've left schools. And then there's people that have reached out. And I think there's a whole bunch of things that you learn, you find yourself as a person. I think someone who, I've moved to a lot of places. You don't really have a choice. You can't really be quiet. You can't really be yourself because you need to make friends. You need to make connections. That's how you survive in different countries when you don't speak the native language. But I really do think that it's a mentality of just, all right, if someone else doesn't believe in you, then just the next thing. It's the next one, the next one. And it really only takes one person. I think that's the biggest thing for me is it really only takes one person to believe in you, and then you're set.
For our fans watching tonight, they did a great graphic a couple of weeks ago that showed your entire journey, where all you've lived throughout your career, all of your citizenships that you have. Yeah. Can you tell fans where you've been throughout your entire journey here to Happy Valley?
Yeah, so I was born in Amsterdam. So I'd have citizenship there by birth. And then all my parents and brothers and sisters, they're all born in England, so I have UK citizenship through them. From Amsterdam, we moved to upstate New York in Rochester. From Rochester, we then moved to Pennsylvania. And in Pennsylvania, where I was at Colgate, my parents moved to Switzerland. And then I hopped in the portal, and I was coming here, and my dad was like, oh, you're going to Penn State? All right, we got to relocate again. So now they're in Chicago. It's been a great journey. I mean, houses in between, different areas in between, but it's one of those things that's kind of like you never really know. I mean, there's been little bits and pieces there. During COVID, I was with my girlfriend in Virginia for what I thought was going to be 2 weeks, and 12 months later, I was still living in her parents' house. And then I finally moved out and went to go train in New Jersey. I was there for 3.5 months until I finally came up here. So there's little places in between, but it's kind of that little journey everywhere that's kind of just made me appreciate the small things.
Yeah, that's a great message. When you talk about, look, Penn State fans, they always want to find that great bowl destination to go to once we get to late December, early January.
Yeah.
What are some of the things that you would recommend to anyone traveling? Because you've traveled. Be our travel agent here, Barney.
Yeah.
What are the things that Penn State fans need to know when they're traveling?
Always have 2 IDs. That's always a big thing. And so know your airport. That is the biggest thing possible, because like I've been to Pitt and I didn't realize Pitt Airport was like super small and the TSA lines out the entrance. But know the airport. Like some airports you can get through in like 20 minutes. Some take 2 hours. I don't know. The biggest thing I
bet you weren't expecting that question tonight.
No, the biggest thing is just like even like my mom travels to here, and like I'll be like, oh, it's gonna be super sunny, and then she'll get here and the weather changes and it's raining, and it's like always just pack and prepare for the worst, and then if you need to take off layers, take off layers. So
Well, hopefully we're taking off layers. It looks like it's going to be a beautiful
Yeah, it's
day
gonna
on
be great this
Saturday. It should
weekend.
be a great, great weekend for football. Barney, thanks again. As always, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Barney Amor, Penn State punter, with us as the Nittany Lions get set to take on the Minnesota Golden Gophers on Saturday at Beaver Stadium for the Whiteout. Penn State and Minnesota matchup that will begin at 7:30 on ABC. Penn State, it's the 14th full stadium whiteout and the first trip to Happy Valley for the Golden Gophers since 2016. Now we're joined by linebacker Curtis Jacobs. And Curtis, obviously Minnesota has a very stout running game that your team will face this weekend. What has been the message? What has been emphasized throughout the week in practice?
Obviously just being able to get downhill, play our game, play how we know how to play. We've seen all these plays before, so it's just about being who we are and doing what we do.
What has been the mentality at practice throughout the course of the week to make sure you guys take advantage of another opportunity that's in front of you?
Just being physical, being as physical as you can, and then obviously just being where you need to be, being able to know that your teammates can trust you, that you're going to be where you're at, and that you can trust them. So it's all of that.
As you continue to grow and become accustomed to playing the linebacker position, we're seeing your instincts right here in some of the highlights taking over on the football field. Where do you feel like your comfort level is at now, where you're playing, where you're not having to think about the game, you're anticipating, and you're letting those instincts take over?
Well, me personally, I think comfort level shows in how fast you play. When you're playing fast, that means you trust the system, you trust your teammates, and you know what you're doing. So I feel like that's the most important part, is just being able to be trustworthy and be able to trust.
And your defense has been able, as you know, and you showed last weekend, to create big plays through the takeaways. What has been the thing that Coach Diaz has emphasized to allow those big plays to develop on the defensive side?
In my opinion, it's the most important part of the game. You can really change the game with turnovers, give your offense great field position, or even score on defense. So just being able to get those, that's always a point in our 3 points for 3 keys to victory, is just getting those turnovers, changing the game, and that's going to be big for us coming down the stretch.
When you were running down that sideline last weekend, was that the fastest you ever ran to make sure you weren't going to get caught and you scored that touchdown?
I'm not gonna lie, I was a little winded. I almost came down to that, but yeah,
You still had the energy to flip. Like, let's take a look at it. Pinballs around off of PJ, and then there you go.
Yeah, I had to make sure I got that one. I used to do that flip all the time in high school, so it was definitely fun being in the end zone. I have to find a way to get back.
Obviously, as a defensive player, you don't have a lot of opportunities to get in the end zone. Last time you scored a touchdown?
My senior year of high school. Yeah.
Was it on defense, or were you playing both ways then?
I played both ways. I had a couple of defensive touchdowns, but again, my last touchdown was I think it was against Zaki School actually. Playoff game. I caught one at the end to win it. So that's actually brings up really good memories.
As a safety, were you a wide receiver too?
Yeah, I played in high school. I played wide receiver, running back. I played safety, linebacker, and then for the most part, my senior year, they made the transition to DN. I played DN, and they moved the nigh inside because that was just very scary. So just all of that being able to gain that experience, I feel like it's just made me a better football player.
That McDonough School pipeline has really proved dividends here for the Penn State program. Last question, any thoughts of asking Coach Franklin, maybe, hey, one snap here on offense?
Hey, I mean, I already got the catch, you feel me? He know I got the hands. He know I got the speed down the field. I think that's up to him to make that decision.
Hey, Curtis, really appreciate it. Thanks so much. Curtis Jacobs joining us, Penn State linebacker. As you see, the Nittany Lions and Golden Gophers scoring off at 7:30 on Saturday night under the lights, what should be a terrific matchup. The crowd is going to be hyped. In fact, already this week, the students are camping out at Nittanyville, getting set for this matchup as we're joined now by Zach Gershman, one of our student talent team members here for GoPSUSports.com. And Zach, last night you were out at Nittanyville, a camp out that began on Monday of this week. The students can't wait to get in the stadium on Saturday.
They definitely can't. They've been camping out since Monday, as you mentioned. They're going to be camping out throughout the rest of the week. And what they've been doing to kill some time is they have talent shows like this. And Brian, I think that's a little preview of the light show we're going to have at Beaver Stadium. The reality is the Penn State women's hockey team and the Penn State men's soccer team both pop by Gate A to say what's up to the Beaver Stadium, to the Nittanyville campers, but also to get them excited not only for their upcoming games, but to get them excited for the Whiteout as well. And I'm not going to lie, I might have belted out a High School Musical song during the talent show. Maybe.
Was that part of the talent show? Maybe that was karaoke then. So I don't know if I'd consider your singing talent, not
Listen, I growing up, I thought I was going to be the next member of Big Time Rush, so we'll see.
When we were, well, funny story here, as we take a look at some of these great scenes, when we were in Indianapolis for Big Ten Media Day, Big Time Rush was actually playing next door to the hotel.
Oh, I'm jealous.
So we had the experience. I didn't know who Big Time Rush was. I'm not going to lie. But Zach, not only do they have the talent show last night, a whole week of events scheduled at Nittanyville to keep those campers occupied, even when the weather turns a little bit cold and a little bit wet like it was tonight.
And the weather does not stop these Nittanyville campers. They're always having the time of their life out there. The talent show is what kicked off the festivities later tonight, pending with the weather. Obviously, it's a Wednesday in State College, so rain seems to be a typical here.
Yeah.
But later tonight, weather pending, they'll have Micah Shrewsbury and his men's basketball squad hosting a dunk contest. They said it's one of their biggest, most attended events of the year, so I'll be very excited to see that later on the week. The quarterbacks and the running backs, as well as some other players from this Penn State football team, will also be popping by, giving them some pizza and sharing some love with them, saying thank you for camping out, because the energy starts with these Nittanyville campers.
No doubt about that. And they'll be in the front row. They're opening those gates. Those students come running in, and they'll be in the first couple of rows on Saturday.
Times. When they run through, you got to get out the way. They're going to have that white shaker. They're going to be ready to go in the first couple rows inside Beaver Stadium.
White Shakers and Lions Lights. Get ready for that intro video. Zach, appreciate the time. I know you enjoyed your time out there at Nittanyville.
It was definitely a lot of fun. And if you want to stay tuned with more Nittanyville content, they camp out every single week that there is going to be a home game. So next week for Ohio State, got to tune in.
And you can follow at Beaver_Stadium on social media, Beaver Stadium Extra. Zach will be there on Saturday at the game. Zach, really appreciate it. Thanks so much.
Appreciate it.
And also our content all week long on GoPSUSports.com. Let's take a look at that matchup one more time. Penn State taking on Minnesota on Saturday, 7:30 kickoff at Beaver Stadium. It is the Whiteout, but just because we have a big football game doesn't mean there aren't other big events going on campus as we take a look at our MI Windows and Doors Penn State Student Athletes of the Week. Allie Schlegel from Penn State Women's Soccer, 100 career points. Congratulations to Allie. And Ben Schoen, who was also the Big Ten First Star of the Week from men's hockey, our Penn State MI Windows and Doors Student Athletes of the Week. Speaking of men's hockey, they are home tomorrow and Friday if you're coming to town, taking on the Tommies of St. Thomas, a 7 o'clock puck drop. You can watch that on Big Ten Plus, as well as these other great games, men's soccer against Ohio State at 7 o'clock. And the reason I left out the middle one, Penn State and Maryland, big field hockey battle coming up tomorrow at 6 o'clock on Big Ten Plus, is now that I am joined by Gemma Punch from the Penn State field hockey team. And Gemma, I know your team is so excited for this game against Maryland tomorrow. What has it felt like all week leading up to this contest against the Terps?
Well, on Tuesday we had Blue versus White Day, so a little bit of competitive spirits out there as we compete against each other. Our team is just so pumped. Like, I wake up every morning to a new message from someone new in our group, just talking about how excited they are for this Friday, and just how we have to get gritty and, like, just really hype ourselves up for it. So yeah, the team's just really pumped.
We've had a terrific season, coming off a pair of shutouts last week against Kent State and against Bucknell. Where do you feel like the group is at going into this matchup?
I think we're in a really, really good place. Like, we have just been on this upward trend, and I am very confidently going to say that I don't think we're going to be changing that anytime soon. So yeah, we're just really excited for it.
What makes this team special as we take a look at some of the highlights now? I know you guys pack a punch on offense. Bree had 2 great games in goal, along with Lauren back in goal. It's a really well-balanced team. What do you think makes this team so good?
I think that it doesn't matter who has the ball. It's everybody's dangerous. Everyone can score. Everyone is just, you know, you don't even know what's going to happen out there because you don't know who to, like, oh, it's not just like Fia with the backhand, or it's like Elena with the amazing block tackles. Like, anybody and everybody is just out there and is playing their hardest. So yeah.
And make sure you include yourself in that mix. You had 2 goals this past weekend. What did it mean to find the back of the cage?
It's always a great feeling, you know, like, obviously for yourself, but then for the team, like, it's not just like me that's finishing it off. It's like, you know, the people at the back that are getting it up the field. So just a really good feeling to know that, like, all the hard work that we've put in is coming through.
You come to us from Queensland, Australia. How did you end up at Penn State?
It's sort of a long story. I guess I was in grade 10, I would call it, which is sophomore year for you guys. And I was like, Mom, Dad, I want to go to America and play sport. And they were like, why, what are you talking about? And I was like, yeah, like, I want to do it. And so my parents helped me put together a recruiting video, which is on YouTube. And then just from there, I had coaches reach out, which I was really fortunate about. And then, yeah, here I am.
Did Coach Shar come to visit in Australia?
No, but our Stuart Smith was a coach at the time, like an assistant coach at the time, and he was Australian himself. So, and he was he came and visited, which was real nice. But my first time on campus and meeting Shara in person was actually freshman summer. So I was very nervous and excited.
What is it like playing for her? How would you describe her as a head coach? She's a legend here in Happy Valley.
Yeah, no, she is amazing. I could say so many things about her. She's like just made my time here like unbelievable. She's a great coach. Like, she gets us in there at practice and then in the film room, and we just get like all that. Sorry, we get it all done, and like, she's just amazing. Yeah, she's really.
Yeah, she wears her passion on her sleeves. She truly bleeds blue and white, and she's one of the great coaches, not just for field hockey, but in Penn State sports, college sports history. She's done a great job with the program. All right, so when you look at the matchup against Maryland, it's a team you're familiar with because, look, they're up there every year, just like you guys are in the Big Ten. What are some of the things you identify as keys going into the matchup?
I think we just have to take our opportunities when they come. They're a really good team, so as soon as we get in that circle, we have to either get that foot or the foul for the corner and really take care of those opportunities and make sure that we put them away. And just go out there with a hard front at the beginning to really show them that we've come here to play.
Well, fans coming to town for the big football game on Saturday. Look, there's a lot of events. We're not going to make you pick and choose. You can go to the homecoming parade, you can go to the hockey game, soccer, field hockey. But for fans who are coming out to see your field hockey team play, what can they expect?
They can expect a wonderful night under the lights, senior night as well, so it's probably going to be a little emotional at the beginning, but they can expect a game for the books for sure. It's going to be gritty, it's going to be competitive, it's going to be aggressive, so yeah, we're looking forward to it.
I don't want to make you emotional here thinking about it, but you're a part of a pretty special senior class. Why is this group so important to the program, and what has your experience been like as a class together?
I guess, like, as every athlete can agree, like, you grow up with your class essentially. Like, going through all those 4 years, you go through it all together. Especially a lot of these girls, we went through COVID together and everything, so the pandemic. So it's just a really good feeling of like we're able to like finish it together, kind of thing. And yeah, we're very sad for sure, but all 9 of us are really excited to walk out there.
Well, we can't wait to watch you guys walk out there, beat Maryland, second-ranked Terps, 5th-ranked Nittany Lions. A lot at stake as well in this matchup on Friday. Gemma, thanks so much for stopping by. Really appreciate it. Good luck. 6 o'clock on Friday. Gemma Punch with us from the Penn State field hockey team as the Nittany Lions take on the Terps at 6 o'clock on Friday. Fans, if you're coming to Happy Valley, whether you're going to football, field hockey, no matter what, make sure you use Happy Valley hospitality. Show that Penn State pride, be respectful, be great fans, be responsible, and be gracious hosts when you come to Happy Valley this weekend. Don't forget, we'll be back with you after the game on Saturday from Beaver Stadium with the Unrivaled post-game show. Get the immediate reaction from head coach James Franklin and student athletes as Penn State and Minnesota square off in the Whiteout coming up on Saturday. Thanks again for tuning into this week's episode of the Unrivaled Weekly Preview Show. There is our matchup, 7:30, Penn State and Minnesota. Should be a great one. It's going to be a great game, great atmosphere. Can't wait. Appreciate everyone tuning in tonight. Can't wait to talk to you after the game, after a Penn State victory on Saturday night. So long, everyone.